Hey guys, all right, back today to talk about winning specifically, but also how to win at Rice University's football team, which is currently the worst team in the country in the FBS division. And it shows no signs of getting better. There's new news today that Zach Abercrombie, or whatever his name was, one of our captains is grad transferring, which again, not a great sign when your captains are leaving. There's been several other people that have transferred out, and one of the signings from last year is already decommitted, is going somewhere else. And so there's basically no hope as it stands right now because we play tactically a terrible game where we run the ball. Basically, here's Bloomgren's method. Dive left. No, wait, dive right. And then take 30 seconds off the clock. Then do that again. And then slowly stand up. And then slowly take 30 seconds more off the clock. And then run the ball again. And that way you can only lose by 30 at the most because you're killing time every time. And that's his strategy currently. And my idea, when the first premise we have to have if we're going into a football season is that we have to be thinking we need to go 12-0 because that's the only way we can win the national championship, which is a drastic departure from the current mindset we have, which is trying not to lose by as much as we can. And we give up all hope at winning before the game even starts. But that's not what Rice was built on. Even JFK asked the question, why does Rice beat Texas? And thank God I came back and answered that 50 years later. And we do it to kick their fucking ass, basically. We take what they think is theirs. Nowadays, we've just become basically a minor league where people come into Rice football and they graduate, get the Rice degree, and then as as a thank you or whatever you want to say, they leave the last year and go play real football. So we're essentially a farm team for any good teams. Like I know that I believe one of our offensive linemen started at Texas all year, which isn't a good thing because if you go to Rice, you're supposed to, specifically while you're at Rice, you're supposed to really hate Texas. And so how do you win at Rice? First off, you can't run the ball. I mean, it makes more sense to actually run the wishbone than what we're doing, what Hatfield used to do, although I don't think that's a good idea. You have to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball 50 times a game, probably more like 70 times a game, kind of what Purdue used to do with Joe Tiller and Drew Brees. And you think, okay, well, we can't get athletes at Rice. And that's not true. We've got plenty of great athletes in the NFL currently from a lot of positions, but we don't maximize their ability and we don't, win while they're there. And so first off, you have to go recruit a new quarterback, a throwing quarterback who's also mobile. You're not going to find a guy that's going to be a five-star recruit who's 6'4" and, like me, that goes around super athletic and throws the ball. You're not going to find that. You have to find some guy that's really good that's about 5'10", like we had a couple years ago. I can't even think of the guy's name. Y'all remember. The guy that threw the ball to Dillard all the time. That guy was Chase Clement. That's basically the prototypical Rice quarterback. You need to find a short guy that can run, that distributes the ball well. And we have to throw the ball 50, 60 times a game. And it becomes way easier to recruit a quarterback, specifically in the city of Houston. You have to go find one quarterback. And you say, hey, would you like to come in as a freshman, start, throw the ball 50 times a game for 4 years, and leave the NCAA passing record? And you'll definitely get drafted at that point. And everybody would say yes. But we don't do that. We play stupid smash mouth football, which doesn't mean anything. It's a useless platitude to try to sound like you're doing something when you don't know what you're doing. Now listen, I don't think Bloomgren has bad intentions. I think he's got good intentions. He just doesn't have the ability to pull it off. Like that's the old Bill Hicks joke, He means well, he just doesn't pull it off. And it's never going to change. There's nothing he can come up with next year that's going to change. What you have to do is, I've tried to explain that the one guy that can save us is named Coach Kevin Kelly from Pulaski Academy in Little Rock, Arkansas. And he's been featured on HBO Real Sports. He's very active on Twitter. He explains how he does it. And the answer is he never kicks off. He onside kicks every time. He never punts. He always goes for it on fourth down. And because of that, he has the ball more. And that's the only way to get the ball more in football, because it's supposed to be 1-to-1 back and forth. The only way to stop that is to try to get more possessions of their team. Because typically we're going to be out-athleted at the beginning, just like Wayne Graham was when he was developing a program. So you have to find a way to win. And you can find a way to win if you use tactics on your side, which first off, yes, onside kick every single time. This would make games so much more fun. We'd score 60, 70, 80 points a game. And you might think, oh, but what about we're giving that field position away? Do I have to break it to you? Did you watch any game this year? Did our defense stop anybody ever? No. So what's the difference? Giving the ball at the 50-yard line and possibly getting it back? on the onside kick or kicking it deep and just letting them run through us all the way down the field? What's the difference? I think my way would have a way of success because you may get the ball back rather than just letting them score. And if you don't get it, you still might get a stop at the 50. If they're at the 50-yard line, you may get a 3 and out, or you might take my approach to defense, which is to stop thinking of as defense, because we're never going to be able to stop teams that are better athletically than we're never going to be able to stop Alabama. But what we can do is cause big plays. You have to train your defense to go get the ball. We're not looking to stop them. We're going to get the ball all the time. We're going to be running crazy blitzes, leaving our cornerbacks by themselves with 2 clear understandings. 1, if you get burned, it happens. It's going to happen because we're playing that type of defense. You're going to give up big plays. But 2, you must pass interfere if you're past 15 yards, because in the NCAA, no matter if you're 80 yards on the field, if you pass interfere, it's only 15 yards. So you have to have your DBs understand that. It's okay to pass interfere past 15 yards. Play very aggressive, and you go for interceptions only. Big plays, interceptions, sacks, stripping the ball rather than trying to worry about tackles, whatever you have to do to get the ball back. That's our only way of doing it, because we can't methodically stop teams. It's not going to work. But we can go get the ball. And if we go get the ball, we give it back to our offense that's going to be throwing the ball 50, 60, 70 times a game, running 5 wides. But the thing is, when you run 5 wides, you can still run the ball. You just have to have a quarterback that can run. So I'm not saying we necessarily even give up on running the ball. We just don't need to be turning it around slowly, handing it off, watching our guy get corralled by 4 guys bigger and faster than he is and wonder why it doesn't work. It's because it will never work. But if you throw the ball over and over and over again, all of a sudden running can work. You can, put a running back there, or a wing back, and you can do pitches, and you can run quick slants with pitches off of that. There's so many things you could do in football. We don't do any of them. We play with worse athletes as a whole on our team. We're probably worse athletically than most teams are, although we have very, very special athletes, some of them. But we don't use them. We just plug them in a position, say, oh, good luck. When the key is when you have good athletes, you make them touch the ball as much as possible. We want the ball in their best athlete's hand every single time, over and over and over and over again. And what we want is the other team to have the ball in their worst athlete's hand over and over and over again. That's our goal. And if we do that, we could actually run up huge point totals and probably win a lot of games. And I think we could go 12-0. Because my first speech, whenever I'm talking to a young pitcher that wants to know how to pitch good, I ask them what in their mind, what would be a good start. And typically nowadays you hear, well, maybe I'll go 6 innings, I give up 4 hits, and I stop immediately, and I was like, that's complete loser talk. The only answer is what's a good start. My next start is a perfect game. There's no other answer that's acceptable. Now, do I realize that perfect games don't come along so often? Yeah, I get it. I'm not saying that, we must throw a perfect game, we're going to be upset with ourselves. No, we have to be more adult than that. If we give up a home run the first pitch, our next thought is, well, we're going to give up 1 run today, 1 hit, and then we're going to dominate the rest of the time. And so on and so on and so on. And that's how you win. You don't win by thinking, well, if I can just hold them to below 4 today, then maybe we can get. No, that's terrible. And that's why people lose. That's because they budget losing into their head. When you budget losing into your head, your mindset instantly goes to losing. It gets a negative mindset. And Rice is stuck in this mindset. And it doesn't have to be. Rice was stuck in that mindset for 60 years before I got there. And before Wayne Graham got there. And we knocked him out of that stupid mindset and said, hey, we're in charge. We can win this. Rice is where it goes at. We're not here playing second field to anybody. It's us. We're the ones that can do it. And we did it. And it was supposed to be impossible, but we did it. And now what does Rice football have that's holding its back? We're an amazing city for football. We're surrounded by the best athletes on earth. We have 10 million people in Houston. You can't find enough to put a football team. We're going out and recruiting from Pennsylvania. The fuck cares about Pennsylvania and California? All these guys, Carl Gard and Bloomier want to come in are all California guys. Well, guess what? We're not in California. We're in Texas. It's a little harder here. When I mean harder, I mean it's a harder game. Even baseball, California baseball is real pitiful to watch, in my opinion. It takes forever. It's all the coach making, we got to run this many plays. We have to check and have this many signs. And it's just it's so boring. It takes forever. There's no free thought or actual athletics and art going on. And so, okay, I'm telling you directly, all we have to do to win at Rice football is to hire Coach Kevin Kelly. That's it. And if you don't believe me, go listen to him on Twitter. Go listen to him anywhere and let him explain the mathematics behind this. We're supposed to be smart at Rice. We're supposed to understand math. We don't use math at all. We try to say we're intellectually brutality. And it's just a dumb platitude that a dumb coach came up with to try to make it seem like he was doing something, and he's not. See, that's the thing, is we have an AD like Carl Guard, he can't tell real from fake, because as the saying goes, real recognizes real, and he ain't real at all, and I'm as real as it fucking gets, all right? So I'm telling you directly, if we get Coach Kevin Kelly, even without me, we will win instantly. If you get me also, now here's the real reason to get me, dragon energy. I got sick dragon energy, and I've showed it over and over again, and you need that sometimes to start changing things where you can actually win. And I got that in spades, and Carl Guard don't got any of that. But all we have to do, get Coach Kevin Kelly, Pulaski Academy. It'll be the most interesting game you'll ever see. The stands will be packed within a week. Everybody will want to see this. Why? Because it's fun to watch, and it's correct, and he'll win doing it. So I'm trusting. Now, trust me. Go read up on this guy. Go learn about him. He's absolutely perfect tactically. I talk to him on Twitter regularly, and he's been right every time. Even spots where he showed me I was wrong. And it's mind-blowing when you get around somebody that's that level of genius. But nobody will give him a chance because he does things differently, even though it's right. And that's Rice's only way. That is the Rice way. Now, don't work smarter, not harder. That's the Rice motto. Why don't we get back to that? We don't need to go out there and be brutal, intellectually brutal. We're going to push him around. Fuck that. We can't push him around. We can run by him and trick him, though. We can do all sorts of stuff like that, and we can win games. And once you win games, you get better athletes. And better athletes when you win more games. And you can win a national championship at Rice if you do these things. You can actually do... I know it's crazy to think, we went 2-12 or whatever, and nobody gave a shit this year. Nobody shows up in the stands. But... in 3 years' time, we could win we could be playing and beating the Alabamas and Clemsons of the world. It can happen. But it can't happen if we just sit there and do the same things over and over again. We've got to change. All right. Go look at this guy, Coach Kevin Kelly, Pulaski Academy, Little Rock, Arkansas. He's our only shot. And as far as changing Rice's culture, I'm our only shot currently. So I urge us, please, put pressure on not even Carl Guard, fuck Carl Guard. Put pressure on LeBron. Talk to the trustees. Do whatever you can. Be like, just get my name out. Honestly, we need to do something drastic. And I am as drastic as it gets, but I will show results. I'll show them quickly, and I'll do it cheaper. And you'll have fun. And I'll bring back the Rice spirit. There's nothing to lose. Like, what else do you have to lose? We are literally already in last place. How could you do any worse than that? And I'll do it cheaper. Kevin Kelly, Pulaski Academy. Peace out.